Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Darth here. So a lot of information has come out in this past week for Dead by Daylight. So I'm here to go ahead and run through it with y'all. But first, thank y'all for all the comments in the last video. I genuinely really enjoy seeing what everyone wants in Dead by Daylight. And it's nice to see stuff that I necessarily don't recognize or I'm not too familiar with. So super love a lot of the choices you guys were offering, and some really out there ones as well. Super cool. So but anyway, we've got a lot to cover, so we're gonna start off with kind of the bigger one, which is the fact that MCote had a interview with a French creator, and there was quite a lot of information on it. So let's go ahead and cover it. So I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Doctor Who for DBD. They have translated basically everything regarding these two interviews, and we're going to go ahead and go through all this information together right here, right now. Okay, so this information that we have here is regarding the first interview. Specifically, this is from the creator Swapalin. I'm sorry if I butchered this creator's name, but it goes as follows. MCote states that FNAF was very difficult to work on from other licenses since Scott was a single person. It was also extremely tense difficult due to his vision in FNAF's core gameplay. That's very accurate. As anyone who's in the FNAF community knows, Scott is very protective of his IP. He doesn't like his IP to be mismanaged and shown in bad light. Obviously, people will argue, oh, Funko ruined images and stuff like that for it, but this is more so on like a gaming side. The thread follows on to say that MCote confirms that there have been talks and mentions of Darth Vader in Dead by Daylight with Disney. Now, this has been a very debated topic this past week about if Darth Vader belongs in Dead by Daylight or fits in it. I'm on the 50-50 camp, and the reason why I say that is because Vader himself definitely has horror implications and stuff related to him that's horror, like body mutilation, endless torture, stuff like that. And Vader is a very imposing and scary individual. In fact, I believe there was a cathedral some time ago that had a competition or contest of some sort to have kids submit their fears, and the winners would get gargoyles made out of them for a church. I'll probably see if I can find the image here to show you, but there is a cathedral out there that has Darth Vader's helmet on it. So the thread also continues saying he knows that people want new Stranger Things content, and he says the door for it is not closed. This is why I still think the November license is Stranger Things. It just kind of lines up way too perfectly with it being a big like last hurrah for Stranger Things with the final season coming out in November. I think that's would probably be the best chance for it. And obviously we haven't had new Stranger Things content since it originally left Dead by Daylight years ago. So why wouldn't we have new skins and like new items for it if they weren't doing a new chapter? And then he continues on to say that the team would love to have the PTB available for all platforms, but it's extremely difficult. He says that the easiest platform for the PTB to work on would probably be Xbox, with PS5 and PS4 being pretty much difficult, almost impossible, being completely impossible for Nintendo. And that is something that is 100% known. The reason why the PTB isn't on any other platform besides Steam is because for console specifically, there's a vetting process that every single game needs to go through to get their game on their platform and to get any type of update on their platform. So, and then he also ends that little section saying that voice chat coming to Dead by Daylight, he says that it's not something they're looking into. And I believe there's a quote saying that as long as he is still alive and kicking, Dead by Daylight would not have proximity chat. And he goes on to say that they are maybe thinking about putting voice chat for a game mode or a game modifier. And then he also goes on to say that in-game chat for consoles, so the text chat at the end of a match, is something that they're not looking into, but they do say it's possible. Now, I can understand why this is not getting looked into at all, because it's not a necessity. I barely even use the text chat myself. I don't think really anyone uses it all that much except to either type GG or to type in slurs and death threats to people. So And then Matthew also says that there's no interest in making game modes or modifiers permanent, simply because they want to keep the flow of change within the game and keep players hyped for what's coming with every update, and it'll just completely ruin queue times. And I 100% agree. The whole thing with game modes and modifiers, and I've been of this opinion very strongly, especially with how many events we've been getting over and over and over again in such quick time, so much so that it's causing burnout, is I like having these things come and go. I like having it so that you get a bit of normal gameplay, and then like a month or a few months later, you get this modifier, this game mode, it goes away, and you're always excited for it to come back. It could be fresh, it could be brought in with new updates and stuff. And during those times as well, for whatever game mode, the queue times are rough. Whether it's 2v8 or it's normal queue, it's going to be rough for one side or the other, or both. So having a modifier / game mode be permanent would just make it even worse. He does mention, though, that the prop hunt game mode has been considered, and he knows that us, the community, wants it, but he confirms it is not the next game mode comes to Dead by Daylight. And he also has said that they've played around with the idea of a future killer having a prop hunt like ability to be able to transform into different objects. And then having a killer have a power where he can turn into an inanimate object would be kind of interesting. He also was asked about the possibility of Dead by Daylight 2, and he says it's not something they're planning to do, and said they want to slowly upgrade the game in all aspects of it to keep it with what the essence that it has been, and to keep it up to modern standards. Matthew Cote goes on to confirm that hints given at PAX for the upcoming chapters was Eric Pope's jacket and pins, which myself and my buddy Polyester have been poring over this, and I pointed out that his pins kind of look like a horse and some kind of big cat. I still think the top pin is a tease for the collaboration coming very soon, which is Night of the Living Cat. It is a manga becoming an anime this July that has recently been announced as getting a collaboration for Dead by Daylight. The current theory is it's a cosmetic collaboration. And I think that the bottom pin was definitely the Assassin's Creed collaboration that's currently going on, just only in Assassin's Creed. But he also says that the Dead by Daylight roadmap, the letters were also another hint. He also said that the pocket watch he brought out was also a hint. However, there's more hints hidden there. Now, obviously, we know that the roadmap was the Ones Who Live hint, and it's been generally agreed upon that the pocket watch hint is another Walking Dead hint. But apparently there's way more hints to be found on it. He also specifically confirms that the September chapter, the original chapter that's coming, is specifically based in South Asian folklore. Now, I know a lot of people were thinking that it was going to be another Japanese chapter. I personally never did, simply because we have so much Japanese content in Dead by Daylight already. He then goes on to say that Buffy the Vampire Slayer has been in talks for Dead by Daylight, but he implies that it's not only with the team, but also with the owners of it. Now, Buffy the Vampire Slayer has been an IP that has been asked for a very long time. I know it's a very beloved IP. However, I've seen some talk recently of people not really wanting the IP because of the owner, but instead having the actress who plays Buffy be included into the game. So kind of like a Nicolas Cage type of deal, where she'd be basically Cage's counterpart. And so she'd be in the game, so you'd have that connection to Buffy. Now, I don't know. I'm not a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan per se, so I can't speak on what I would prefer. But if you are, please let me know in the comments. Which path would you prefer to have? He then goes on to say that a very weird type of little tidbit that his cat, the name of his cat is based off of Agent Cooper from Twin Peaks. Nice. And then he also says that the 10th anniversary of Dead by Daylight will be massive. So I know my last video, people said that we already know what the 10th anniversary is. It's the choose your own chapter one. That's actually not true. It was never stated that it's the 10th anniversary chapter. It was stated that it is a chapter for the 10-year of Dead by Daylight. So it's why I was saying maybe Jason would be the 10-year, it'd be poetic and stuff like that. And then with that, he also says that legacy skins are possibly never coming back. He sadly says that people who lost them will probably never get them back. Now, for those of you who are confused, what legacy skins are, they are a type of cosmetic that people got if they played way back in the day, way in the first iteration of Dead by Daylight and the Blood Web. If they leveled up their characters and prestige them, after they fixed the Blood Web and fixed how grindy the spending was, anyone who prestiged the character got a cosmetic for it. So how currently we have the bloody cosmetics, back in the day, they would get kind of like a cosmetic that looked like glow in the dark Cheeto dust. And so you might see some survivors running it. You might see some Claudettes, some Dwights, stuff like that. You might see some trappers, some wraiths, some hillbillies, stuff along those lines. But it was a very rare cosmetic. And unfortunately, with the whole cross progression and cross progress thing being implemented, a lot of people connected their accounts and ended up losing their legacy. I've actually seen multiple reports and accounts of this from multiple different platforms, from Reddit, from Twitch chats, from Twitter, of people who had legacy skins, who got them from way back in the day. They connected their PlayStation or their Xbox or whatever, and they lost their skins. And they tried to submit a ticket with behavior, try to get the skins back, and they couldn't. So having that be confirmed by MCote that people who used to have it won't is kind of sad. Besides that, there was one little tidbit of info for this interview, which is the limit that they have for like power and stuff with turning into stuff, because of the prop hunt power that was mentioned earlier. It stated that the limit they have is a person who takes the appearance of one of these survivors, and then who you never know if they're real or not. And it says that it's a concept that is interesting and that they've considered many times over the last 9 to 10 years, but they don't know if it's something that will come out. But they feel like maybe like it's something that will be inevitable and that will probably happen one day. A lot of people will probably be like, oh, this is the thing. And I think that's what they mean. Like, if they want to bring in the thing, this is probably going to have to be the thing's power. But overall, that's really the more so important information for that first interview. But we're going to end the video there. There is a lot of information in the second interview, stuff that I don't really feel comfortable cutting out. However, if I kept it all in, this video would be 40 minutes to an hour long. So I'm going to be doing a kind of like part 2 to this, going over all the information that was asked and revealed in that interview, coming out probably like the day after this comes out or a couple days after. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, and evening. Goodbye, everyone.